Intense battles for the lead have defined the season for our drivers of this historic series, and as we roll into the Circuit de la Sarthe, I can't help but think we're perfectly set up for more of the same today. Will a surprise winner come to the head of the pack, or will a driver be able to break the draft and run away to a win today? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 7 of the iRacing IMSA Vintage series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Adam Lindgren, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Our director is the boss man, Daniel Costello, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. The Circuit de la Sarthe needs no introduction, but here to give us one is the one and only Joe Peak, host of our GSRC Track Guide.
Welcome to Le Mans. When you talk about legendary circuits, this is a place that stands among the most famous in the world. Part permanent road course, part temporary street circuit, it traipses through the countryside just south of the city where it gets its namesake. Its size matches its reputation as well, clocking it at 8.5 miles, which equates to roughly 13.5 kilometers. However, when you take into account that it's split by only 33 turns, the frighteningly fast nature of this circuit becomes clear. Most of the corners have been added over the century of history it's experienced, but many have become renowned and respected. The two turns at the opposite ends of the massively long Mulsanne Straight play equally important roles. Tertre Rouge requires a great exit in order to not lose massive amounts of time, while Mulsanne Corner takes bravery and precision in order to brake as late as possible and keep opponents from passing you on the way in. There's also hair-raising moments like the tricky entry to Indianapolis, or the close walls along the bridge section in the Porsche curves. To win here, drivers will need a very low downforce setup, a good sense of strategy, and heaps of bravery. The 24 Hours of Le Mans is the crown jewel of endurance racing, which many drivers dream of someday winning and many fans flock to witness in person. Once you've driven the track here on iRacing, it's easy to see why.
Such amazing sights to be seen here at Le Mans, but Craig, why don't you tell us about how these drivers are going to handle it in these vehicles today?
Well, Adam, how else do you describe Le Mans? So, for me, it's all about the history, the fast-flowing section, the surprising elevation changes, and of course, the road section. So, let's break it down with the GTPs. Now, this car wasn't designed for Le Mans, but its sister car was. Now, the downforce this car produces will make the car planted at the faster sections like the Porsche curves and at Tertre Rouge. But the slow corners like the Dunlop chicane and Arnage will catch the best of drivers out. For the GTOs, the flowing corners will be a bit of a challenge, as you can expect, because of the understeer that four-wheel drive will deliver. So expect some course correction around the Porsche curves as an example. Overall, both classes, though, will have the same issues, and that's why I've gone to this pretty quickly. Slowdowns and the straight. Now, for the slowdowns, one mistake around corners like the Dunlop chicane, like Tertre Rouge, and the Ford chicane will ruin the best of laps and will give you bad track position. And that leads me to the elephant in the room. This Mulsanne Straight, the Unidere, as they say in France. The moment you pull out of the draft on that thing, you lose all the speed. Why is that? 40 seconds flat out. You cannot make any overtakes over there. You have to time your runs. So time your runs, and that's going to be crucial. I don't remember the old days in NASCAR when you needed a partner to draft with on the super speedways. Imagine that today with a couple more cars. Work together on the straight, make the moves efficiently, don't lose the pack when making a move. Today, it really is a game of chess.
Yeah, and I feel like our points have been a game of chess ever since we've started this season. In the GTPs, however, it is Robert Nash up at the lead of the race, having finished second last week out at Long Beach, with Seamus Power doing pretty consistently, still sitting in that second position. Javier Del Olmo had a big goose egg last week, so that puts him down into third position, 2 points behind Power. And then Aitor Sentes Galindo and Brendan Lim are still 1 point behind each other and within 2 points of that third position. And then we get down to Aaron Humphrey, who hasn't been here for 3 weeks, so he's fallen down to sixth position. But Matthew Cockram has been here over the past couple of weeks and scoring pretty decent points and has gotten himself up to seventh. Hugh Haycox, our two-time winner back-to-back last week and the week prior, shows himself in 8th position, and then Farron Grau hasn't shown up for a couple weeks either, with Dylan Freckleton rounding out your top 10 in the GTPs. What about the GTOs, Craig?
Well, in the GTOs, the non-competing for the championship, Jan van Hixie won last week. He's not in the top 10, but the top 4 finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively. That means Kundelis still has a sizable lead over the unlucky Mickey Friesen. He's trying to bounce back here with Andreas Schuster still trying to catch up. Just those 3 in the 100-point barrier. Noel Lundberg just behind them as well. Doug Cloud did not get a result last week. That allows Ian Haycock and Nicholas McCannels to catch up as well. Rest of the field, every time I see this, Adam, it is so close around here. With just 2 drivers in that top 10 not scoring a single point last week, it hasn't really changed in the championship standings in the GTOs.
Well, this round of the championship's going to look a little bit different than normal. It's round 7 of 12, but the difference is we're doing a lapped race because of how long Le Mans is. We don't want to get some people stranded on extra laps, so that's 11 laps for these drivers. They can have open setups, which means they can set up the car however they like or dislike, but they have no spare vehicle. And man, if you go off here, you usually end up damaging the car, so that's a big strength that they have to worry about today. Drive-through penalty at 17 incidents and a disqualification at 25. We saw a couple of drivers fall afoul of that the last time that we were here. But, Craig, it's going to be an interesting race today, and qualifying is interesting around here, too.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You don't usually see incident points get hit at Le Mans, but with a lot of the bump drafting, you may have an accidental 0x turn into a 4x as we are already into qualifying. Delta is usually big around here when you come to a GT and a prototype around Le Mans. Give you context, it is 32 seconds, which does sound a lot, but you kind of expect that on a track like this, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. It's double the length of most of our tracks, which means that we get double the delta between the 2 vehicles. So, you know, as you mentioned, we're going to have that 32 seconds of gap. So that's what we'd expect. You can see just how long the straightaway is without any of the chicanes that happen here. We're looking at Hugh Haycock's, our current provisional pole sitter, with a 3:13.4 that he's looking to beat, and is about halfway done with his lap.
Halfway done. He's a little bit slower on the straights compared to the others. Some of these guys going, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to give it to you in kilometers today. Some of them going 307 down the straight. Hugh, he's a couple kilometers slower. That does suggest he's running an extra click of wing, maybe looking to see if he can help himself. There's Aaron Humphrey. He was one of those going 307k. I'm thinking that may help a little bit, Adam. Just an extra bit of click of wing, especially we talked about those corners like the Dunlop, like the Ford chicane, like the Porsche curves and karting S's, just want that downforce just a little bit more. But for Noah Lundberg, taking middle of the track, he doesn't need to worry too much about how much click of wing.
Noel Lundberg right now down in 9th position. He's been battling for wins all over the course of this season, so surprising to see him that far down. You can see just how jittery the steering is usually on this track. Usually the Audis tend to run a little bit of outward-facing camber on to try and track these cars a little bit more accurately in the turns, and that's why you see them wobbling around a little bit. Jan van Hixie just completed a lap and has a 3:45.7, so that moves Joran van Hixie up into 7th position. Romain Bello just completed a lap as well, 3:47.8 for him. That puts him outside of the top 10, but 3/10 separating pole position to second in both classes right now.
You see Jack David Spickett, I don't think he's gonna minute 25. Gonna be very tight to finish a lap here. Always the man that starts at the back. He's doing and I'm trying to remember the name of the driver who always used to start from the back of the field and not qualify. Can't remember his name at the top of my head. Hugh Haycock, though, he's qualifying. GTP's got a chance to do 2 laps definite. The GTOs, it was very nip and tuck. Hugh Haycock is going to come across the line. He said a 13.481. He's taken 3/10 off that with a 13.113. Sorry.
And unfortunately, Humphrey did not improve, so he's remained 7/10 behind. Javier Del Olmo crosses with a 13.8, so that moves Del Olmo up into 3rd position. Here's Pepe Fuentes, who's going to try and cross the line and improve from a 3:14.17, crosses the line and does so with 4/10, moves up to the 2nd position.
Yeah, just keeping my eyes on Jack Spickett, Togo Hisada. Great to see Togo back again. I mean, it's Le Mans. You don't miss Le Mans. So that could be one of those. It's just one of those that hopefully that happens. Ben Summers, he's had a moment there for some reason. And he's going to try and reverse. I've done that before. Jack David Spickett, 14 seconds left on the clock. He's going to come across the line. This will be the last man to do a qualifying lap. And it's 17th for him with an 18.363.
Absolutely. So a good qualifying time for, well, not a great qualifying time for him, but that's going to take us to our grid for this race. And it's going to be a little bit of a moment before we can put up that grid. But Craig, it's a very challenging race for these drivers today, having to worry about draft pack. This feels a little bit like Daytona, but it's in France with a lot more turns.
Yeah,
and here we go with the starting grid. Hugh Haycox is going to start us off on pole position with Pepe Fuentes in second spot. Aaron Humphrey, is going to line up behind Hugh Haycox with Javier Del Olmo behind Pepe Fuentes. Then we've got Dustin Heroder lined up on row 3 next to Brendan Lim, and Christoph Olenejic is going to line up next to Robert Nash. Nice to see Christoph back. And we've got Togo Hisada in 9th position with Tobias Rohner down in 10th spot. And then on the next slide, starting off in 11th position is going to be Seamus Power with Dylan Freckleton next to him on row 6. Row 7 is Miguel Bento and Kevin Parrish in 14th. 15th is Matthew Cockrum with AJ Roper in 16th position, with Jack David Spickett lining up on row 9. A bad qualifying for him. Ben Summers starting off in 18th position. Adam King is going to join us in 19th. Nice to see Adam back as well. And Martin Yalis is going to start off in the 20th position with a 3:20.997. And we've got another row of drivers here. We got Ruben Ryder in 21st and Paul Ferrer joining us once again, first time in a while, in 22nd position. Eki Anderson's going to start off 23rd, with Ivan Ortuzer is going to start off in 24th position. Then we get to our non-qualifiers. Jeffrey Furcon and Mateo Johnson on row 13. Fabrizio Raffa, James Nunn, and then David Harding and Victor Rodriguez Carrera round out your top 30 of the GTPs out here.
In we go to the GTOs very quickly. Andreas Schuster will be pole with Alex Ott beside him. Then it's Mickey Friesen in 3rd and JD Rodriguez in 4th. Doug Cloud will be 5th with Arturas Candelas in 6th. And then it's Joran Van Hixie in 7th with Timothy Reed in 8th. Josh Brain will be 9th and Noel Lundberg will be 10th as we finish out the first page. Ian Haycock will start the second page in 11th with Johanny Cameron in 12th. Forban Pollock in the unlucky 13th with Roman Bello in 14th. Then it's Bjorn Ackerman in 15th. Bentley Breafoot in 16th. Juan Jose Suarez in 17th. Amit Kurtul 18th. Benjamin Luke, the last of the time qualifiers, in 19th. Within the non-time drivers of Carlos Fonseca in 20th. Pablo Rangel, Mika Tupela, and Nathan Morgan for your 23 GTO field and 30 GTP.
That's 53 cars around here, and that may seem like a lot, but Le Mans is very big and very long. But we're going to see most of these cars packed in together because of the drafting, Craig, and we're rolling right now, getting ready to get started on this race. But man, look at those track temperatures, though. Air temperature of 70, track temp of 95 Fahrenheit, so in Celsius it's 21 C for the air temp and 35 C for the track temp. But 10 kilometer per hour wind out of the southeast is going to affect these drivers a little bit, and 77% humidity out there.
Yeah, just a little bit of a wind coming towards you. Away from you when you're down the Mulsanne Straight. They are taking the gentleman's agreement. If you're wondering what's happening, it's a single file start. Everyone knows how chaotic it can be for the start. But you think, Adam, you've got 30 cars in the GTPs. Some of those drivers aren't even going to be at the first part of the Ford chicane before it's green flag. Be interesting to see what happens in the GTOs, but very shortly we're going to hear some airplanes going over. I'm going to, as the tricolor will be flying over, which gives us the sign that the pace car's getting ready to go in. One last thing from me, Adam. Earlier this week, we saw 4 wides and 3 wides. Prepare for the same today.
Absolutely, and it's no surprise that we're definitely going to see some separation in the GTP pack. We have a 5-second delta between pole position and the last timed qualifier. And we have drivers who didn't set qualifying times in the back of the pack, so it's going to take a couple of laps for all of the drivers to sort themselves out here. But as the Porsche pace car pulls up towards the pit lane, it's going to pull off, and it's going to release our pole sitter to get ready to go. Look at how many cars there are. They're still winding out of the Porsche curves and through Ford, but now coming in the tricolor overhead as our GTPs are going to come to the starting line. There we hear the horn, and off he goes. A great start from the front of the pack, but it looks like second position is going to be a little bit more contended because very, very bad start for second place. And now we've got the third place driver looking to the inside. It's going to be a close battle as they go through turn 1, and that's going to be Pepe Fuentes who's going to give up that second position and is going to fall back in the pack. What about the GTOs?
GTO's just coming through. They've all gone single file. Everyone's keeping nice and calm as you see snaking through. Alex Ott, he will try to look for an early aggressive move here. Not going to do it in the back of the field. You look to see if anyone's going to try and make a move here. No, they keep it single file. They keep it safe. They keep it clean. Picture in picture, you see the GTPs coming down Tete Rouge. Keeping my eyes on the slowdowns, Adam. A slowdown at Tete Rouge at the start of the race can cost you I'd almost say half a minute.
It looks like we have a big gap in the front of the field. Hugh Haycock's already up 2 seconds over Aaron Humphrey and Pepe Fuentes. So Hugh Haycox is already free and clear. He's broken the draft at this stage, Craig. So I would expect to see him free and clear for the rest of the race, given his raw pace. But look how long this GTP train is. It goes off into this distance, and we haven't even seen everyone come through. And the GTOs are also tucked in right behind the GTPs. But here we go. A nice move being made on Javier Del Olmo by Aaron Humphrey and Pepe Fuentes. Del Olmo up to that second position, and a little bit of bump drafting going on for the GTPs.
If you go too hard with the bump drafting, you're going to lose that rear wing. They don't want that. Aaron Humphrey trying to make sure he can hold it as they hit that first kink down the straight. I say the first kink is the last thing, but all the lifting that you see Humphrey having to do, it does allow Pepe Fuentes to be there, but the inside does not work for him. And behind you do see Aaron Lim in the purple car getting Brendan Lim, with Christopher Lesniak. He gets going as well on the 007 cam with Aaron Humphrey in the GTOs. They are 2 by 2 at the start of this race. Schuster, Ott, Rodriguez, Friesen all working together, and Doug Cloud is just on his own out there. That is what we're seeing in the GTP. In fact, look at him. It looks like it's a motorway.
Absolutely, and it is a motorway. 2 lanes, and they're taking up both of them. As we see Andreas Schuster first to the braking zone ahead of Alex Ott. Mickey Friesen tucked in behind him. They go single file as they go through Mulsanne Corner, and now off once again to the races. We'll see more passes being made here. Doug Cloud about a second back now of our leader, and he's now only 3/10 back of JD Rodriguez as he's tucked in there. But there you see that move, Alex Ott. And here we see a couple of drivers, a GTP driver trying to snake his way through the field, having started from the pit lane. And this is going to help. This is going to break up the GTOs early on.
Ben Summers decided for a pit lane start, almost get in, and he loses control. And that's a really good save. That's a smart save because he didn't hold anybody up. There's tire marks in the dirt. He's actually just now going to try and be patient. That's what he has to do, and being patient is actually causing issues at the moment. Ben Summers going to try and get by, does hold up a few of the drivers. Did see a car in some tire marks there, and that could be why.
And Doug, very unhappy. Looks like he was frustrated, possibly a misshift on the exit, drops him back another 3/10, as it was close between Alex Ott and Schuster as they went into the Porsche Curves. But Doug getting his mentality back underneath him and getting going. Once again, he's off again, unfortunately. So something must be up with that car.
What it was, there was a light tap on the rear from Gundelis as they went to Arnage. There was just a small gap there, and it just turned in, and Gundelis was there and just hit his rear right. And I don't think that's going to cause some steering upset, but it will cause a little bit of issue. You start to see Miguel Bento's in the wall, though, and that looks like his race could be done. He's got massive damage on the rear. I think he did that himself. Yes, lost it on power.
Yeah, absolutely. Easy to do in the GTP, just getting that power underneath you. The turbos spin up and you lose traction on the rear tires, and that can send you off into the wall, and it looks like that's what happened. Toko Hisada, though, in the 8th position, trying to make some moves here back on the Mulsanne straight for the second time. Second of 11 laps. You may think 11 laps is not a lot, but around here, it's a long time. It takes a while to get going. We've already been racing for about 6 minutes.
Yeah, he is now side by side, giving an indication of the speed. He's 313 kilometers, and then you've got Hiroda just ahead. Now, this is Javier Del Olmo. This is something you've got to be careful with when you do these types of moves. You lose all the speed when you pull out to make the move, and then when you get back in front, you've got to do it quick. You do it too slow, the car behind will get too much speed. And Humphrey and Del Olmo working together almost just to give themselves a little bit of a slingshot. That has worked. And I will tell you how that has worked, because the gap now is 1.8 seconds to Aaron Haycox, and Aaron Humphrey. But I reckon that little wing adjustment I think Haycox has done might be helping him here.
I expected to see a lot of battling at the front of this field in the GTPs, but I do not expect that we are going to see that today, because Hugh Haycox is out to that 2-second lead. The rest of the field has to work together to try and bring Haycox back in so that they can battle for the lead. If they start fighting amongst themselves too much, they're going to lose track. And look at that, that's a driver off as AJ Roper goes around. I believe that was Yalis who has gone off. And look at this, 3 wide as they head towards Indianapolis for the GTPs. Jack David Spickett on the inside is going to get the job done.
Gets the job done, and Kevin Parrish also gets the job done, but not how he wants it. And the synthwave there of Dylan Frackleton, these cars have been dicing it up as well. And in fact, there was a position change, because that is JD Rodriguez, and now we've got some more. I have never seen this before. It's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. And now they all just come together. This is a single lane road, Adam. This is not a motorway. This is not a highway. They are driving on the wrong side of the road to begin with, and they still keep going. And the gap now, Alex Ott to the rest of the back of this, is 1.5 seconds. They'll catch up right away because of the slipstream. This is what was mentioned earlier today. You've got to work together, and now as you see, Andreas Schuster in the 11, he's going to try and work together with Mickey Friesen. He's going to try and make the overtake, but they're already caught up to Alex Ott and JD Rodriguez at the front.
And as a reminder to our viewers who may not have seen this track in real life, this is a regular just road track. It's just a regular road for these drivers. We're going to take a look at Ruben Ryder, who seems to have had a problem. He's going to get onto the power, and yeah, once again, a second GTP struggling on power application out of a slow corner. Fortunately didn't hit anything, but just barely got missed by some of the GTPs who were coming around him. Here's Christoph Olenicek, who's trying to make a good run here in the top 10, trying to get up to that top 5, tucked in behind Brendan Lim as they get onto the Mulsanne Straight.
They get onto the Mulsanne Straight, they come off the racetrack and now onto the road, and just there on the left is the memorial to Alan Simonson from 11 years ago. But Hugh Haycox, he doesn't have to worry about that. The gap is 3 seconds. He has got so much pace on the rest of the drivers today, and look at them. It really does feel, I like to use the term, Adam, of a peloton, really does feel like a peloton right now. There's a breakaway rider on his own, and his name is Hugh Haycox. In the peloton, they're all just umming and ahhing and deciding who will lead the charge.
Absolutely, that breakaway up front. It's not Tadej Pogacar here, it's Hugh Haycox, and this Tour de France is looking like it's going to have a singular leader in the same way that the Tour de France did this year as well. But Aaron Humphrey and Javier Olmo trying to close that gap, and they're working on it. 2.5 seconds, they've gained half a second just on this straight so far alone. And still gaining as they go 3 wide behind them once again for that top 5 position, as that's Olenicek, who's currently in the 5th position. Toko Hisada on the outside trying to make this work.
Yeah, and they're all trying to make this work. And Lesniak, no, that is Lesniak and Hisada going to try and fight this. Lesniak's going to have the inside. Hisada's going to have the outside. There is some damage to Hisada's car. I do see it there. It's on his right. You won't see it on these cameras. So he's using all he can. He'll have to get back in. If these keep fighting, they're going to be losing more time to the others. And the speed difference already so much strong. Brendan Lind overtaking Toko Hisada. And now Heroda's trying to get past Christopher Lesniak. Lesniak is a star in GT2s. What is he in GTPs? He's got the inside line, or the outside to the inside. For Indy, he'll hold on. He'll have to defend the inside at Arnage, but we'll go back to the GTOs because JD Rodriguez has the lead until Andreas Schuster says, I've got the slipstream. This really does feel like Daytona at the moment.
Absolutely. Drivers just picking their lines. Look like it's going to go 3 wide here. Is this Mickey Friesen trying to make a move? No, that's Alex Ott who makes it 3 wide. Takes it 3 wide on a 2-lane road. These cars, my goodness, it looks almost to be 4 wide as they get down towards the right-hand kink, halfway down the Mulsanne Straight. Well, two-thirds of the way down the Mulsanne Straight. A little bit of bump drafting there. Now we've got bump drafting in 2 lanes as they head for that kink. Separation just a little bit as Kundelis, championship leader in that neon green car, lime green car on the outside line, second back, trying to make that push.
You know, I really do feel like this is almost like NASCAR. I could almost get into the voice and I could just be like, oh, Rodriguez is loose. He's loose, bumping, and a mistake as well. Everyone's bunched up.
Misshift!
From Ott. Misshift, and now everyone is caught out.
Alex Audi's in the middle of the road. He's going to wreck even more cars. It's Ian Haycock's over on his lid, over the top of Nick McConos, and Haycock's bouncing his way down the straightaway. Unfortunately for him, that's going to end his race most likely because these guys don't have spare vehicles. They can't get another car. That's it for them if they've got damage, and especially here on such a straight track. And look at this, Nick McConos, major damage. He's going to fall back. He's not going to be able to draft well today.
Ott, Van Hixie, Haycock have all towed. I'm trying to see who else has any of those black and orange flags. It is just, well, no, it's two of them. Alex Ott did not get a black and orange flag for that, but he has towed the car, and he has done it. Mickey Friesen now leads the pack. And I've got to be honest here, as we're going to look at the replay, Mickey Friesen has had a string of bad luck this year. And here's Ian Haycock about to come through. He's needed this bit of fortune now, but you can see a small mistake. And Alex, I mean, I'm hoping that's a hardware failure because you do not want to be seeing somebody. I know that Alex is probably going to say it's a hardware failure, but you don't want to be driving across the road like that.
He immediately did hit the brakes afterward, but unfortunately not holding the brakes on the exit of the corner. The drivers are coming through. They don't want to lift, and Ian Haycock takes the pogo stick down the straightaway, unfortunately, but heartbreak for him. And take a look at this. Aaron Humphrey still 3 seconds behind Hugh Haycock, so now Pepe Fuentes doesn't look like he wants necessarily to work together with these guys. He's looking for an opportunity, and unfortunately for them, that's going to mean that the lead of this race, unless Hugh Haycock makes a mistake, is out of the picture.
Yeah, this is what I came to. Sometimes you do have to work together, and we saw the slingshots that Aaron and Javier were doing earlier in the race, about a couple of laps ago, I say. Not earlier in the race, a couple of laps ago, and it just worked for them. I don't know if it was on purpose or accidental, but you see Javier, he realizes that he has the overspeed, so he slows down early, because if he takes the overspeed, he's going to be almost accidentally fighting Aaron through Indianapolis, and now into the only part of this section that isn't a road, into Arnage, and he will go on by back to the road. I have walked this part of the course, Adam. I will tell you, it is bumpier than you think, and there's so much camber there, and Kevin Parrish is having to have this fight right now with Dylan Freckleton, and on the high part of the track, Dylan Freckleton holds on, but makes a mistake at Arnage.
Absolutely, so it's going to give Kevin Parrish a good run. Oh, look at this, a little bit of weaving on the straightaway for Dylan Freckleton. Kevin Parrish isn't going to think very kindly of that, and he's not going to wait. Freckleton's still trying to move Parrish. Parrish unyielding, and he's going to take the inside into Porsche curves. Freckleton comes across a little bit, and Parrish goes wide. That was almost an incident. These two guys need to calm down. They're battling for 13th position.
Battling for 15th position, but it does not matter. They're still battling, and they're trying to keep it fighting, and they can't at the moment. I can report more free-wide shenanigans in the GTO, but we'll keep on to this battle as we have a new leader in the GTOs, as you can see. It's Cameron, but here we go. Is Parrish going to set himself up for an overtake? Not now, but maybe get a good run out of the Ford Chicane, because myself included, sometimes you do not get the best launch out the Ford Chicane. I might be right, and Ryder's gone around.
Yeah, Ryder's gone around, and this is with Noon as well, James Noon. So these two getting together at the start of the Porsche Chicanes, and now they're together once again side by side as they come through the Porsche curves. So unfortunately for these two, they're already at the back of the pack and falling afoul of the corners once again. So here we go, taking a look at our lead battle. It's Koundalis now out to a 6/10 lead and almost 4 wide as we come down towards Indianapolis.
Almost touching as well between Friesen and Schuster. JD's backed out. Schuster's backed out. It's not a game of chicken. It's a game of making sure you don't lose the time. And they realize that. And they realize that the best thing to do is just hold back into single file. Started this lap, Doug Cloud was second. He's now into 5th. That just shows the topsy-turvy mentality that these guys have got. The top 7 are all together, even though that gap is 2 seconds between 1st and 7. They're all together, and that's what you want to see, and this is what you want to see. Javier Del Olmo still battling with Aaron Humphrey. Is there going to be a chance? The gap is now 4.5 seconds, despite all their driving here on the straights. It works, but you still got to pull it off on the corners, Adam, and then not pulling it off.
And that's where Haycock's with that extra downforce. We talked about it in his qualifying run. I think he's got, like you said, he's got some extra wing dialed into that thing. It's paying off for him. Hugh Haycock's 4.5 seconds up ahead. Look at this. Oh, very close moment there with Krzysztof Oleńczyk. And look at this. That's that's Brendan Lim running it down the bricks on the outside to try and make it 3 wide. He's going to do so as they head down towards Indianapolis. Who's going to give? It's going to be Brendan Lim as Oleńczyk trying to make a run on the outside now as they head towards Indianapolis. 3 wide again.
3 wide, and they're actually coming into Indianapolis. They're going to keep it 3 wide, and Lesniak's going to do a fantastic move off the road, back onto the road to the inside of Indianapolis. Makes it stick, but there's still an overlap, and they're going to lose out here. Lesniak realizes it. He pulls back. He goes for a really good over-under. What a launch, but I think that little slide from Nash there just made him go off the throttle a little bit. He will get a run here. Will he look for it down into the Porsche curve? He looks for it. He's got the overspeed. He's got all that patience. He's got all that ability. This is just what he wants. And if this was the last lap, he's going to have to fight for the position. He just gets it over Nash.
Good move from Lesniak to get into that 5th position. He's got 2 seconds up the road to Pepe Fuentes, and he's got a decent amount of technical track up ahead of him. We know that Lesniak is very good at the technical portions of the track and tend to run away when it's hard to do. Here we see Kudelis, current leader. I don't expect that to remain the same by the time we get to the end of this long straight.
Now, remember I said these GTOs probably don't have to worry about clicks of wing or anything. Yeah, that's on Andreas Schuster, that car on the right. He has a destroyed wing. And look how much speed he gets. And now he's going to get a little bit of a bump from Cameron. Yep, it's a little bit of a bump. And I didn't think my joke about the pairings back in the old days of the slipstream was going to happen. But we've got Fonseca and Briafort both in the pit. I think they both have it coming together, though. With the way Fonseca doesn't have a hood anymore, would not surprise me.
And let's find out. Let's find out what happens here. So as we go on to the replay, Fonseca still has his hood. We're coming into the right-hander after Indianapolis, and looks like, a little bit of a loss of traction due to an avoiding action from the 46, and that's going to absolutely destroy the front end of Fonseca's car, which ends up hitting another vehicle, so that's why Fonseca is in the pits and likely out. Here is the braking for the Mulsanne corner. Who's in the lead right now? It's JD Rodriguez. Mickey Friesen trying to recover from, quite frankly, a whole series of bad luck ever since the first couple of rounds of this season, and currently in 2nd position, but that's not going to last very long either. But they got to be careful. They don't want to let JD Rodriguez break the draft and run away.
I don't think they're going to be able to have him break the draft. It doesn't feel something he can do, but a bit of a lift there for Doug Cloud. Was that a bit of a mischief? Not sure. They've caught right back up. And when I see these cars break for Mulsanne, come down for Arnage and Indianapolis, we talk about the peloton, and I know it was the time trial today, but it really does feel like a peloton coming to a really sharp bend or a roundabout, just with the way they're going on side-by-side picture right now, as these are the GTPs of Javier Del Olmo and Aaron Humphrey coming around Mulsanne. They're coming around Mulsanne. They GTPs are now starting to lap some of these GTOs. Could be very interesting if they get to the corners.
Absolutely. Here we take a look at Robert Nash trying to make a move on Lesniak, and able to do so. There we see the move at the bottom right-hand corner as Humphrey and Del Olmo continue to swap and try and gain spots on Hugh Haycox. But every time Hugh gets to a corner, they lose ground. But Nash and Lesniak side by side. And that's Heroder behind trying to figure out his way through. Now we see Lesniak taking that inside line through Indianapolis, but it becomes the outside line as they come into this slower corner. Lesniak going to try and do the over-under, a little bit of contact, and fortunately for Nash, they keep going straight, but it bottles up everyone behind him.
Damage for Nash. Damage for Lesniak. That was all due to Nash just getting a little bit squirrely coming out, and they've all just bottled up, similar to the bottle up we saw in the GTOs. Yeah, in mid-corner, just on the exit there, Nash tapped the brakes to try and control the car. Lesniak could not react in time. He hits the brakes, and it was just a big collection there. Lesniak goes down to 11th. What damage does he have? I'm not sure. More drivers coming down the straight now, and these are some of the back markers as well, as we see more battles going through. But this is James Nunn, Ben Summers, and Ruben Reiter now coming through. and we may see another person trying to make a move into Indy, and still working. Most of these drivers are trying to make that move here, Adam. I don't think it's efficient to make those sort of moves this early in the race.
No, I agree. And look at this. Dark clouds over the front of our GTO field. Still the only lead battle that is really in contention right now with JD Rodriguez. He was not able to escape. Mickey Friesen, 3/10, 2/10. Easy pass going to be made here by Friesen. But look at this. Kundelis takes to off the road. Is going to try and make it 3 wide. Does so. Trying to battle with Rodriguez for the lead, and Friesen on the outside now. And here we go, 3 wide once again. And who's that going to the outside? That's Schuster making it 3 wide. It could be 4 wide here if Doug Cloud tries to get out from behind, but he's just pushing Kundelis right now.
Yeah, Doug decided, you know what? I don't want any of this. And I'll tell you who wants something. Cameron wants it. Is he going to try and make this 3 wide again? No, he's going to join back in. He's going to join the pack on the low side or the high side. Yeah, I'm trying to use the NASCAR terminology. It's not working. They're still holding together. Just one mistake. Oh, my word. Doug looks cool, calm, and collective. I wouldn't be right now, Adam. This is scary even watching it.
Doug looking a lot at the mirrors as he comes to the braking zone next to Kundelis. Kundelis is going to have to brake early. You can see Doug cutting the corner just a little bit as he saw that Kundelis backed out, gave him the apex, so that's going to let Doug be ahead. But that's Kaminen on the outside with no drafting help right now. He's going to start to fall back as the rest of the drivers tuck into the draft, but it swaps over under once again. And look at this, a little bit of a push from Kundelis on Doug. Doug loving it.
Doug loving it, but got to be careful. Keep it straight. And I know it's hard with this with the steering here around here, and especially with the way the road is simulated and scanned like a real road. You see where the middle is raised to allow the water to go off down on the sides. That can be a little bit of an issue if you're too close to the middle. They will stick together in single file. It's still crazy that even after that one incident, these 7 are 2.5 seconds ahead of the next cars, Josh Brain, Timothy Reed, and Roman Bello. Absolutely crazy that they've stuck together, but these guys have done races so much this week. They understand the assignment. They understand when to fight, when not to fight, and when to work in a pack. And this is what they're doing. They're giving each other the respect. They're giving each other the room when it comes to that Mulsanne straight. Elsewhere, it is just free game, but no one's taking it yet. 3 seconds behind them, though, is the lead GTP.
Doug, Kundelis, Schuster are all in it for points, so they do not want to get separated from that lead pack and lose valuable points by dropping down the field. We take a look at Dustin Herroder, currently in 7th position, not having the best day, per se. He's lost track of a couple of the drivers up ahead, currently about a second tucked in behind the driver up ahead of him. There we see Herroder. He's got plenty of championships to his name, but just has not quite had the success he's been looking for in the GTPs here in IMSA Vintage. There you can see avoiding one of the GTOs, and they're going to start to catch up to the main pack of GTOs very shortly. And here is Hugh Haycox catching up to that top 7.
Yeah, caught up to that top 7, weaving around and gets through. He got through half of them before the Ford chicane. He packed into the middle of them pretty efficiently. Aaron Humphrey now behind. He did not gain a lot of time. He only gained half a second. Gonna try and see what he can do as he comes down the hill. Down now into this left-hander and into the Forest S's. Won't be a lot of opportunity for him to make move. He's gonna lose another second just because of this traffic. He's going to try and squeeze it. The problem is, if he tries and squeeze it there, the GTO who gets harassed is going to lose time, and now full speed. It's been a while since I've seen a car go this fast down the Mulsanne straight. It's always a thrill, Adam.
But 2 seconds lost, and Javier Del Olmo still 1.5 seconds stuck in the back of that pack, so their draft partnering is now effectively done. Del Olmo still within the draft of Humphrey, but it's going to take some time to get going. Here we see Seamus Power in 9th position, tucked into a battle for 7th. 3 cars long at this stage and about to catch up to our lead GTOs. Is this going to break up our lead GTO pack? It's already almost happened. Mickey Friesen's about 7/10 behind Kundelis for 3rd.
Yeah, it did happen for a split second, but they used some GTPs to get a bit of slipstream. And this is Jack Davis. You see Doug Cloud right now. He is trying to do what he can to see if he can hold on. But when you've got two cars working together like that, there's not a lot you can do. Here comes the rest of the pack, and he's going to be left hung and dry on the outside. And now back he goes. He's going to try and go for it. I am still using the oval terminology here. It's working so well, though. Wow! Just at the very tight moment those GTPs come by. One mistake could have just bookended everybody here. But this pack that was, what, 7 cars?
Oh my goodness, one of the GTPs is off. That slows up Cameron in, so Friesen, free and clear, is able to get by. And that's Kundelis who's going to try and be side by side with him. That was almost the end of the race for the leaders of the GTOs. Fortunately, everyone was able to hang on to it, but here comes some GTPs well off the road, trying to get around this pack of GTOs who don't have to yield to them. Oh my goodness, almost 5 wide!
Jack David Spickett gets through all of them, and he has the lead. Seamus Power, I'm trying to see on that aerial who's who, but you can see it's Jack David Spickett, it's Seamus Power. They're trying to squeeze their way through. They are needing to get through. They realize how desperate it is. Almost an incident going through. Now they come through. Power, get through a couple of them. More drivers going in. They're losing out to the lead because of these GTPs. The GTPs have every right to do this. The GTOs know that. The GTOs know they can defend this, and they're going to just hold on to the slipstream by the barest of times. And Doug is going to have to drag JD Rodriguez, Andreas Schuster, and Noah Lundberg and Cannonen back to this front, and he does so. But that Adam could have been very scary.
What's wild is I think Kundelis and Friesen possibly had an opportunity to break the draft of Doug Cloud if they'd worked together, but instead they were side by side going down there into the Porsche curves, and that's brought this lead pack back together. But we're not done with GTPs yet. There's still the rest of the GTP field to go. Remember, there were 30 GTPs at the start of this race. Hugh Haycock's just put in the fastest lap of 3:15.147, now nearly 7 seconds up ahead of Humphrey, who's finally got Javier Delomo 4/10 behind, and they're going to start working together again. But my goodness, Haycock's on an absolute tear today.
Yeah, when you say there's 30, Cannonen has actually towed. Cannonen has had a moment he has had to tow. We're probably going to see it, and it looks like he has been, he's been hit by Kevin Parrish coming through the Corvette chicane, as they call it, the Corvette chicane. And now we're going to see more battling. Ruben Reiter's going to try and take this battle on with Ivan Ortoza. Almost come together, it just holds on. That camber's out and tips down if you go too far around. So that is kind of hinder Ivan there for that moment. But yet we have seen Cameron. He is in the pit. His race looks to be done.
And the lead of the GTOs very much separated now. 5/10 separating first, second, and third, and then 7/10 to JD Rodriguez, and then nearly a second back to Schuster. So our top 5 of the GTOs starting to get a little bit separated right now. And here's Seamus Power trying to make a move in 9th position, right tucked in behind. I think they're actually trying to draft up to the cars ahead, but that's a long gap to close.
Yeah, Seamus Power at the back of this. Dustin Heroda's the front car with his blue polygonal effects on the front, and they are just working together while that's happening. Let's have a quick look at what happened with Cameron, and you'll see comes out the karting S's. Gets hit there. That's not karting, sorry, that's the Corvette. It looks worse on that angle. It was the lightest of taps. There was a gap for 3 cars to go through that chicane. Unfortunately, it did not work well. I think Kevin did not factor in the GTOs trying to have the battle there, and that probably was what happened.
Top 3 in the GTOs under a blanket right now. Doug Cloud, Mickey Friesen, and Arturas Kundelis. JD Rodriguez is off the back, and Andreas Schuster, a second and a half. That's the draft broken for Schuster. He's no longer part of this picture unless these guys start holding each other up, and that's not going to happen. They got a GTP, a slower GTP, who can't keep up with the GTOs, stuck in between them right now. That is Rodriguez trying to close the gap behind that GTP. Look how damaged that GTP is. That right rear tire looks quite off for that GTP. Still trying to make it around, but that's rough running. Here's Doug Cloud. Mickey Friesen's going to go to the inside. Doug's going to let it happen.
Gonna let it happen. I'm keeping my eyes on JD Rodriguez. He's trying to slipstream back. Schuster and Lundberg have lost it. And that was Robin Nash we saw there with the big damage on his car, just waiting for the opportunity. The GTPs will come through, and Doug Cloud will have the inside. We'll take it. He slows up Kundelis, though. And you'll just see now that allows JD Rodriguez to get back. And you know what happens if you get 2 cars at the back of a train? get bunched up here and slowed down, that means the pack behind gets an advantage. They can't capitalize on it. Schuster and Lundberg almost got back in the slipstream there.
As Ben Williams, who had a little bit of an issue there coming through the Mulsanne corner, but Victor Rodriguez Carrera trying to gain up onto 20th position, and they're just trying to snake their way through the back of the pack of the GTOs as well.
Yeah, we're still not through it. We're still not through it. If you do an IMSA, if you do any sort of multi-class racing, you usually see 15 and think, right, I'm done. And then you see 20, you're like, wait, and then you see 30, and you're wondering, when do you get a break around here? And that is what the drivers are having to deal with today. And Rodriguez Carrera making a mistake, letting Ben Summers through. He's going to use that slipstream to get back up to Eki Anderson because Ruben Reiter is too far behind. It's still crazy that these GTOs are not through with the GTPs yet.
Hugh Haycock's 2 to go for him this time by as he's on the Mulsanne straight and tucked in 7.5 seconds back. They haven't lost a lot of time with the last couple laps from Humphrey and Del Olmo, really unable to gain any ground. And then it's another 5 seconds back to Pepe Fuentes alone in 4th position. And then there's this battle between Brendan Lim and Tobias Roner, and Roner and Lim trying to close their way up to Fuentes, but 5 seconds is a long way to go for these two to get up to Fuentes right now. You can see Roner trying to give it his all, trying to tuck in behind and get that little air bubble in front to push Brendan Lim as fast as possible.
Yeah, and that's what they need to do. I'm going to keep my eyes on that. Pepe Fuentes is still gaining a little bit there. I feel that if you want to do this, you have to go for some sort of slingshot. Not going to happen. I'm just keeping my eyes on the GTPs. You won't believe it. Kundelis has had a slowdown at Tertre Rouge. Kundelis had a slowdown at Tertre Rouge. He's slowed down all the way. He has lost the slipstream and he is now off this. And now it is a battle of, I've lost count. It's 4 cars. Friesen, Rodriguez, Schuster, and Lundberg. But Mickey Friesen is so close because with Doug Cloud, those two are now on their own pushing together. And they are going to have to basically hope the next wave of GTPs don't bring everyone back together. I say that. Adam, you can explain to me, how are those GTPs getting back in the slipstream so easily? Because since I thought Rodriguez and Schuster are right on the back.
Absolutely, yeah. The GTOs, the gap for the GTOs as far as the slipstream is 1.2 seconds for maximum draft, and it's 1.5 for minimal draft. So 1.2 seconds is how they were able to close that gap. They were well within that. They were about 0.8 behind, and that's how they were able to get close. And now JD Rodriguez leads after coming onto the straight 1 second behind our leaders.
That just blows my mind. And Kundelis, though, unfortunately, he's got no one to work with. So even though he was almost on that pack, he's had no one to work with. He is now, I want to say, 2 seconds behind. That's big for championship implications. We use that word, we use that meme. Championship implications there if Kundelis cannot catch up to this pack. We're going to see James Nunn come out of the pit. He's had a moment, and I'm not sure who that GTO is, but I hope that's not going to cause a moment. Oh my word. Was that a lockup? It must have been.
Yeah, a little put offline, missed the breaking point because you haven't done that in a while, so no surprise there. But here we see JD Rodriguez still leading in the GTOs, and look who on the back of this pack, Craig. Remember when I said Noel Lundberg had a bad start, had a bad qualifying and was starting in 18th? He's now in 5th, and on the back of this, he's easily in for a shout at the win of this race. We're on the final lap for Hugh Haycock, so these drivers will be coming up to the final lap themselves this time around.
Yeah, I just saw a free wide and I thought, oh my word, it's free wide. But no, it's Carlos Fonseca, a lap car. Andreas Schuster's going to try and get this. They want to set themselves for the right position as they know it will be white flag next time for these GTOs. And they just want to set themselves going to see if they can. But I look behind, I see a lot of GTPs left for them. That could be the deciding factor because all what's going to happen in a minute is going to be big. Del Olmo, Humphrey, still battling. Del Olmo, the orange car. Humphrey, the white and green car. You see more battles in the background. This is going to be a wild final lap, Adam. I hope you got 4 minutes of fun lined up.
Absolutely, and this will be decided. This battle will be decided in the Porsche Curves. These two drivers now done working together. They're running side by side down the Mulsanne straight as they head towards the final kink. It's going to bring them into towards Indianapolis, with Hugh Haycock's nearly 8 seconds ahead. They haven't gained time, they haven't lost time, but that means this is all they can battle for, which is second, and they're all out right now.
They are going all out at the moment, and Del Olmo will get the first lead. Now, I look at this like this, Adam. They've got 2 more straights left. The Gulf Straight, which is right now, and then the Busan Straight, which is after Arnage. I feel that Del Olmo ahead here gives him the advantage because he can give up that lead going down the Gulf Straight here, and then he can attack at the Busan Straight, and that looks like it's going to be happening because Aaron Humphrey's going to get by. They're almost just going to let it happen. It's all going to come down, like you said, to the Porsche curves. You're missing nothing in the GTOs.
Del Olmo takes it deep in contact between the two of them. Del Olmo just got a little bit off of line, and that means he's going to fall into the clutches, possibly of Pepe Fuentes. And how much damage does Del Olmo have? He's going to have a hard time hanging on to this position now.
He's going to have a hard time, especially when there's a GTO right ahead of him, and the GTO is just off the racing line. What is the GTO doing? And he's had to get on the grass. He's going to be losing speed because of that. And I'm not sure what happened there, but now all of a sudden, Del Olmo, he does not have the opportunity. Does he have the downforce? I'm not sure.
We've got to go to Hugh Haycox, who currently is coming out of the final couple of corners. Hugh Haycox with a commanding lead. He was able to break it free on the first couple of corners over the course of this race and was able to break free of the drivers battling for second position. That gave him 2 seconds of a gap, and that's all he needed. He ran away with this one today and is going to cross the line and win here at Le Mans.
He's going to win. Javier Del Olmo cannot hold on with the draft, unfortunately. Pepe Fuentes is going to finish third position. There's Aaron Humphrey coming home in second. And then it's going to be Pepe Fuentes just a few seconds behind. We got to get back to this battle. Earlier this week, the drivers went 4 wide here, Adam. And I'll tell you what, I feel they could be doing it. Doug Cloud, Mickey Friesen, Noah Lundberg, JD Rodriguez, they're all battling. Who wants it the most?
It's not just them. Look behind them. If any of these guys make contact with each other, that's going to bring the pack behind. It's 3 wide as they go towards Indianapolis. Currently, it's Friesen in the lead, and that's going to be Doug Cloud trying to make it around. Switches over to the inside. Can he do it under braking? He tries to get inside. He loses traction. He's going to fall back, and it's going to be Friesen and Rodriguez duking it out. Up the inside comes Schuster. Doug Cloud getting forced out wide. Doug Cloud from second position down to third and possibly more. Mickey Friesen currently in the lead, trying to break the draft to Schuster as we have a spinner in the background.
Spinner in the background in the GTPs, it doesn't matter. JD Rodriguez has got the run. Mickey Friesen's going to defend the inside, and this means that Rodriguez will have to do is round the outside. There's overlap, there's still overlap, there's still overlap, and he has it, but no, to Viro's the point they go. Friesen has pulled out here. He's given it up. This is now Rodriguez unless there's a late surge. Schuster right behind him. Cloud is going to be holding back as well. There's only a couple quarters left. One massive braking opportunity. I don't think Mickey's got it. I think JD might get this.
Heartbreak for Mickey Friesen once again. His troubling season continues. Mickey Friesen, there's not going to be anything he can do here. He's going to look to the inside. He's going to send it. He's going to make contact. They wreck. Mickey Friesen is gone. And who's it going to be? Who's going to take the win? It's going to be Schuster, who comes through free and clear. Doug Cloud's going to get second position. Noah Lundberg gets third.
I don't have the words. I don't have the words. Mickey Friesen's going to be coming home. It looks to be it's going to be seventh position. He's had to serve a slow, and I think he's waiting for JD Rodriguez. He does. He lets JD Rodriguez go. I don't have the words for that one, but Schuster gets it. Technically, Schuster with a flag-to-flag victory there, but that doesn't tell the story. I do wonder, did Friesen just go too aggressive there? Doug Cloud gets the P2. Noah Lundberg gets the P3. That's going to be talked about a lot in the community, I feel. Fantastic work, by the way, by the cameraman, Adam, because catching that Doug Cloud with the drift through Indy and catching it, wow.
Absolutely. We can thank Daniel Costello and Dougie Beard for the great shots that we've been seeing, but that's going to take us to our results here. As we talked about all race, Hugh Haycox was free and clear by the end of turn 3 and was able to get the win over Aaron Humphrey in second position, 11 seconds back. Pepe Fuentes, another 4 seconds back, 3.5 seconds back at that, in third position. Then Javier Del Olmo, unfortunately falling afoul in that final couple of corners, made contact with Humphreys, but that drops him behind Fuentes into fourth position. Brendan Lim comes home with another consistent fifth position for him, 17.8 seconds back of the lead, with Jack David Spickett just about a second and a half back of him at the end of the race. In sixth position, Tobias Broner in seventh spot, with Seamus Power, Dustin Hiroder, and Dylan Freckleton rounding out your top 10 here in the GTPs. On to the next slide. We're going to get down to 11th position, with Christoph Lesniak is going to finish in 11th after having some contact himself that gave him damage, slowed him down, dropped him into the back of the pack. Kevin Parrish having dropped back as well down to 12th position. Togo Hisada with that damage that Craig pointed out, falling all the way back to 13th position, with Matthew Cockerman 14th. Paul Fair drops down to 15th, and Robert Natcher's battling for the lead as well, down to 16th position, still on the lead lap though. Mateo Johnson in 17th, and then we got Martin Yallis, Ruben Reiter, and Ivan Ortuzer going to round out your top 20 positions. And we have another page. We got Victor Rodriguez Carrera, Ben Summers, Eric Anderson, Jeffrey Furcon, Fabrizio Rafa, AJ Roper, and James Nunn, all still on the lead lap. And then we have your drivers who had issues today: Adam King, Miguel Bento, and David Harding rounding out your GTPs.
Well, let's get to the GTOs as well. Andreas Schuster, like I said, lights to lights victory, but it wasn't the story there. Doug Cloud would be second, with Noah Lundberg making 7 positions up to get to third, and Josh Brain also 5 to get to fourth. Timothy Reed will be fifth. Torres Candelas will be sixth. Roman Bello will be seventh, and it's JD Rodriguez in eighth. Mickey Freeze in ninth. He admitted he had an adrenaline shot there and was too much excited and locked up. He will come home in ninth. Bjorn Ackerman will be 10th. We'll get to the second slide with Forban Pollock in 11th. Pablo Rangel making 9 places up to 12th. Juan Jose Suarez will be 13th. Mika Tupala will be 14th. Amit Kurtul will be 15th. And the drivers who went a lap down from the GTP traffic: Benjamin Luke, 16th. Nathan Morgan, 17th. Bentley Burford, 18th. Carlos Fonseca, 19th. And then we've got the drivers with the issues. Cameron in 20th, 3 laps down. And we'll just get to the last page. Alex Zott, that early crash, 7 laps down, with Johan Van Hicks and Ian Haycox, who both finished 22nd and 23rd, respectively.
And we do have our winner here to talk to us, Hugh Haycox, who won in the GTPs. Hugh, I know there wasn't much competition for you today out there, free and clear. We were noticing during qualifying that you had a little bit more downforce, it seemed like. You were slower on the straights but quicker in the corners. Was that an intentional move to try and break free and clear during the more technical parts of the track today?
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, it was a really good race actually. Yeah, I've been working on this setup. I love this track. It's my home track. I really love it. So I've been working on this setup for years and years now. And yeah, I find this track, you can go slightly low on the downforce, but I find it gets very, very hairy in the corners if you do that. So I went slightly higher just on the rake of the car, just to give me a bit more downforce at the rear. And especially this week, we've got quite southerly winds. So we get a rear wind into all the corners, so it makes it a bit scary as well on the old oversteer in this car.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were free and clear from the first corner, but how was traffic for you? It didn't seem to slow you down that much when you went through the pack of the GTOs, and they were battling very hard. But it seemed like traffic wasn't as much of an issue for you today, at least.
No, yeah, traffic is a big deal on this track. Since we only go past them once, you kind of get what you're served, and you don't have an opportunity to make that time up. So Aaron and Javier both got slowed up more than I did in this race. So yeah, it's just a bit of luck of the draw, really. I got a bit scared when Doug chopped my nose off, but it's within his rights to do so, and I thought he was going to go wide, but he didn't. So, but that was interesting. But nothing scary apart from that. So yeah, good racing.
And next week we head to Phillip Island, a very different track, and that's for a 60-minute one. So we're gonna probably have pit stops there. What are your thoughts heading into such a different race?
It'll be interesting. I'm generally not a massive fan of Phillip Island, but in this car I seem to get along with it quite well. The 60-minute race will be interesting because the pit entry from memory is not the easiest. So we might see some retirees from that. But yeah, it should be interesting. I don't know if we'll be able to fuel save enough to make it a no stop, but I'll definitely be looking at that as a possibility.
Well, Hugh, yet another win. That's 3 in a row for you here this season. Are you aiming for the points championship like intentionally, or are you just taking these wins as they come?
I'd quite like to see where I come. I joined with 4 weeks late and then had a terrible race at where was it? Canada Motorsport. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how high I can get. I think Robert Nash is leading at the moment, so he didn't do too well today, so that's good for me. Not great for him though. So we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season.
Well, Hugh, congratulations on the win. And is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go today?
You guys for putting on a great broadcast every week. I make sure to watch it after every race because it's great fun. So thank you guys.
That was Hugh Haycox, our winner today here at the Circuit de la Sarthe, the historic layout. And that's going to take us to the end of our broadcast. Thanks to the team today, Craig, Daniel, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, website, and merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. As mentioned, next race is going to be Phillip Island. That's August 3rd. We break into August at 1 p.m. Eastern time next Saturday. So be sure to check out our other broadcasts that are also listed here on your screen. We hope you've enjoyed joining us today as much as we've enjoyed bringing this racing to you, and we hope to see you back again soon. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.